Hi there, everyone. This is Joe Monster once again reporting to you live-ish from the DepraVlog here at From Beyond Depraved. As promised, today's video is concerned with the Young Frankenstein musical that I saw at the Mann Hall just a few days ago. Just to give you some type of visualization, this here is the program that we received. It doesn't have any pictures in it, so sorry, but there it is. Overall, I had a lot of fun going there. It was a blast, particularly in retrospect. I say retrospect because on the way up there, as excited as I felt like I was, as much as I didn't want to, I was starting to compare what was going to be seen on stage to what I've grown to love in the film. So, not the best way to go into something for sure, but I was starting to build up a lot of those expectations, just having the movie ingrained in my mind after all these years. So I tried to approach the show with as open mind as possible. The seats we got were pretty far in the back, but since the hall is kind of a more compact area, they were actually not too bad. We could see the whole stage, so that was a huge plus. It was a little iffy with me because I have a thing for heights, but overall, it was a great view of the show and all the proceedings. Overall, the show held up really well. They had all the bits that we've come to know and love from Young Frankenstein, all the little parts that the audience was kind of waiting for and salivating for. But they also put, of course, their own little touches there. It just couldn't be an exact replica of the movie. So it was good to see that they had put some of their own things in there. It was a lot like Mel Brooks's The Producers when they had turned that into a musical for Broadway. It still had most of the same plot structure and characters and all that good stuff, but they added some new flair to it just to keep it fresh, which was very nice. I enjoyed that a lot. I really just wanted to kind of briefly talk about some of the moments that I had a lot of fun with during the show. The first real huge laugh that came from me, at least, was during the song Roland Zahe, where we're introduced to Inga, and Dr. Frankenstein and Igor are traveling through the foggy Transylvanian woods up to the castle, and then of course you hear the howl in the air, and Igor points out that it's a werewolf, their wolf, their castle, and everybody knows the bit. But then after they get done going through the lines, this actual werewolf actually comes out on stage and he starts attacking the cart, and Igor shoos him away like he's a little dog, and the werewolf defeated, he gets off of the cart, and next thing you know, he just decides to spice things up a little bit, so he kind of does a little few jazz hands off the stage. It was extremely funny, and of course, for those of you who know, I love werewolves, so the minute I saw that, I was extremely happy, and the fact that he did a quick dance number off the stage definitely had me in high spirits, so the show had me hooked right after that part, and it only got better. I guess I wasn't really didn't know what to expect, I should say, from the show, but it surprised me pleasantly a lot of times. The second best thing, in my opinion, to come from it was during the moment where they kind of just briefly showed it in the movie, where Frederick was having some type of nightmare where he was envisioning his great-great-grandfather Victor visiting him in his dream. In the show, they really elaborated on that, and there, Frederick falls asleep in the library, and when he wakes up, there's Victor back from the dead, and he basically sings this song to Frederick about joining the family business and picking up the old Frankenstein habits and trades and basically starting to build a monster. And the performer playing Victor was really great. I enjoyed his performance during that brief song. But it only got better because during this song, all of the Frankenstein ancestors come out, and it's basically this chorus dressed up in these crazy Albert Einstein gray wigs and these lab coats, and they start dancing, musical theater fashion, so I got a huge kick out of that. But then they actually, and it goes by so quick, you hardly notice, the performers pulling all these tricks like right out of their sleeves. They all exited the stage at one point, and they come back holding these rods that have different components on them of this huge puppet. And basically, I know I'm explaining this probably horribly, but when they all come together, the separate puppet parts on all of their rods forms this huge Frankenstein creature. And it was this really great effect because you have all these Frankenstein dancers controlling each ligament of the Frankenstein creature, and Frederick is, shrinking away on the ground, and he's trying to crawl away, and the actors playing the Frankenstein doctors, they move the puppet so it looks like it's looming over Frederick. It was this really great effect, and it fit into the idea of it being a nightmare really well. I enjoyed the heck out of that. It was a great song. Um, and of course, probably the moment that everybody was waiting for, especially me, was the part that came in the second act. I believe it was where Rick did his presentation in the town hall, and then he and the creature went into their bit, putting it on the Ritz. That was definitely one of the, I think it was actually the best moment in the whole show, and it got a great reaction from the audience. The minute you see Frederick and the creature in their top hat and tails, everybody started clapping, and it was a great moment. But then, believe it or not, it actually got better. After they go through the whole spiel like they do in the movie, it actually turns into this huge bona fide dance number. And first, how it starts out is Frederick and the creature go through their whole thing, and then the creature is left alone on stage, and the scrim is lowered behind him, and there's a single gaslight, it looked like, that's illuminated behind the scrim, and it blows up the creature's shadow, so it looks like it's this huge looming darkness outline of the creature blown up on the scrim. And it was really cool because he was all alone on the stage, so he starts going into a tap routine, and of course the shadow follows him. But then of course it turned out the shadow was actually of another performer, because the minute the creature stopped doing something, like once he stood still, the shadow would continue to dance in the background, and it was really funny. The creature would turn around and growl at it, and just be, it was a really great comic effect, and it worked really nicely. And then the dancers came out, and it was again like the Frankenstein doctors. They were decked out all in costume. They had top hats and tails on, and they also had these huge Frankenstein boots on, and they joined the creature on stage, and they all started tap dancing along to the number. It was really great. It was just impressive to see these guys dancing around in these clunky looking things. And then they employed some light effects, these really powerful strobe lights. So during one moment in the song where all the dancers started jumping up in the air, the strobe lights would go off, and it had the effect of making it look like all the shadows of the dancers were frozen in air. It was extremely cool, and everybody in the audience started clapping. It was just that awesome. So there were definitely some really great moments, and some awesome utilization of just the things that they were able to do in a theater setting that couldn't or weren't pulled off in the film. So, props to the crew for pulling that off. It was really great. As for the actors, they were all really, really fantastic. Had the core characterizations that, of course, we expect out of them just from having the movie in our social conscious for so long. But, the performers were still able to bring their own type of theatric flair to them. And, any bad actors or anything like that, right on down to, the peasants, they were all really great. They were all spirited, and their comic timing was great. If I had to name one performer who I enjoyed more so than all the others, it was the actor who played Inspector, the one with the wooden arm. At first, And the funny thing is, at first I thought he was, alright. He was the larger guy, and he pulled off a really great German accent or Transylvanian accent, whichever one he was trying to go for. And he was great in everything, but lo and behold, it turns out that the same actor who played the inspector in the show was the one who played the blind hermit. And that little bit was amazing. Like, it was insanely hilarious, just like it was in the movie. And the great thing is, this actor, I wish I knew his name. I think his first name was David. He was completely unrecognizable as the hermit. Like, I wasn't able to tell until the very end, where it's revealed in the final bows that the inspector is the hermit. I was not able to tell that they were one and the same. So during the blind hermit scene, his song, first of all, is fantastic. This guy was like channeling his best Nathan Lane impersonation. It was extremely funny and quite appropriate, it being Mel Brooks and everything, I suppose. But he just sold the hell out of that song, and it was extremely funny. And just the entire interaction he had with the creature, who was also another great performer. He really perfected the art of the Frankenstein growl. Yes, there is an art. Just their interactions on stage, they were perfect. The comic timing was brilliant, and if the play was just consisted of a single scene with the creature and the hermit, then I probably would have had a blast. So that was another one great moment, and props to the performer who played the inspector and the hermit. It was really great. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the stage door like I was hoping. Sometimes, for those of you who are a little more familiar with theater and everything, after performances, usually, from what I've heard, you have a pretty good chance of seeing at least some of the actors after the show if you stand by the stage door. That's basically how they get out. And some of them like to stop there and take some pictures and just talk a little bit with the actors. And I've been wanting to do that for quite a while, but yeah, I was just so worn out by the end of the night that unfortunately I couldn't, tell any of the performers how great I thought they were. And all of them deserve compliments just for the extremely awesome job that they did. I know I use that word a lot, but it was perfection almost. Just the dedication that they all put into it. It was extremely enjoyable, and if I could, I would go back and see it. And just so all of you know, the show is on tour, and I'm pretty sure they're not finished up just yet. So, I'm not being paid to say this or anything, but if Young Frankenstein, the musical, comes, to a city near you, by all means, you have my recommendation to go out and see it. It's the show right here. Young Frankenstein, the musical. It's extremely funny. All the performers are great, and there are so many cool touches to it. You definitely won't regret seeing it. You could probably get tickets for fairly cheap as well. So, like I said, just an awesome show. If it comes out near you and you can afford it, go see it. You won't regret it. It's a hilarious night, and it is quite the electrifying experience. Yeah, I just came up with that. Sorry. Well, I think that about does it for now. I'm probably going to be stoned for that hideous pun that I just made. But, hey, I guess that's show business, right? So, once again, thank you all for joining me for an episode of the DepraVlog. And I will be back sometime or another, I guess, if my humor warrants another appearance. Probably not. But I will be back again. Be sure to tune in. And thank you all again for watching. Have a great night.